What's up everybody, I'm Nick Fry, aka Nick's Music Taste, and I'm here to talk to you about my taste in music. Thank you for tuning in, I hope you are doing well. Today, I am going to be reviewing the 11th studio album, excluding the re-recordings, by American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift, titled The Tortured Poets Department. Before we get into it though, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my reviews, which come out on Sundays and Wednesdays. You can also leave a comment letting me know an album or albums you would like to see me review in the future. Alright my people, we've got an album to talk about. It's The Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. Let's get it. This was Taylor's first original body of work since October 2022's Midnights. And since then, we've got the Taylor's versions of Speak Now and 1989. Midnights was nothing groundbreaking. It's not a career highlight of hers to me, but I've still always really enjoyed it. It's great. 8 out of 10. One of the reasons I'm a fan of Taylor is that she's never been afraid to experiment with different styles underneath the umbrellas of pop, rock, country, and folk music. And she typically does a fantastic job in my opinion. Every record of hers has its own unique sound. You can't say that she makes the same one over and over, or else you're basically just announcing to everyone that you're ignorant. So after the drastic switch up in sound from 2019's Lover, which is probably her most playful and happiest pop album, to the soft and mellow folk sister albums Folklore and Evermore in 2020, and then back to pop music again 2 years later with Midnights, although this time around the overall mood and themes were pretty much the opposite of Lovers. All this shifting around in genres that she does, especially in recent years, has understandably led Taylor to be an artist that I highly look forward to seeing where she goes next, and I honestly believe that would be the case even if I wasn't really a fan of her. So when she announced the Tortured Poets Department at the Grammys back in February, I was hyped. I was like, what's it gonna sound like? What is she gonna do next? The result was Swift's worst pop album to date. Tortured Poets dropped on April 19th, 2024, and it consists of 16 songs clocking in at an hour and 5 minutes. Regarding the album's sound, it makes perfect sense that it was the follow-up to Midnights. They're not identical, but I can definitely hear glimpses of Midnights inside of it, in the sense that a majority of the songs have a sort of cold, nocturnal vibe to them. Most of them are heavily synth-driven. The lyrics are deeply introspective on a nearly therapy session type of level, and unfortunately, with all due respect, this is definitely her worst lyrical album, and I'll get to why in a bit. Of the 16 songs, I can't believe this is even my opinion, but of these 16 songs, there are only 2 that I would recommend. There are only 2 that I enjoy, that I would call good or better. So I guess we'll start out with talking about those 2 highlights. First off, So Long London is undeniably the best song on the album. Aimed at British ex-boyfriend Joe Alwyn, it's a track that's flawlessly infused with the sound of a freshly heartbroken person in all aspects. Her lyricism, her vocal performance, which is excellent, you can literally hear the pain in her voice. And the melodies are very pretty too. The roomy sound on Taylor's voice makes it all even more intimate. Like you're right there in the studio with her while she's recording. I love that detail. It's track 5, and we all know about track 5s on Taylor Swift albums. They tend to be a strong candidate for the most vulnerable on the album, and that is surely the case here. The instrumental is sad and soothing, very late night sounding, as it should be. So Long London is depressing and sentimental, but also beautiful, with a faint hint of optimism at the same time, since it's coming from a heartbroken person who's mature enough to understand that life goes on. The other highlight on Tortured Poets is The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, which I originally thought was about Joe Alwyn as well. But I've seen many people saying it's about Maddie Healy, so who knows? The melancholic piano and synths on this one make it another one of the few just flat out sad songs on the album. Taylor's lyrics here are angry and fired up at whichever one of the 2 exes it's written about, which is a different outlook and vibe from the rest of the songs. But unlike the other 14, the words on The Smallest Man actually make me feel something. They make an impact on me. And a big credit to that is the devastation in her singing, like on So Long London. So yeah, So Long London and The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived are the 2 highlights to me. For their lyricism first and foremost, but also Taylor's passion in her singing, which is definitely at an all-time high for the album on those tracks. The production is pretty good on both. Shout out Aaron Dessner, the man who helped Taylor build the sound of the worlds of Folklore and Evermore. In fact, the production on the entire album is pretty good to me overall. The Jack Antonoff songs have their moments, but most of them are alright. I do think the snare in Fortnite is pretty quiet, quieter than it should be, but it's fine, I guess. Florence Welch's vocals are butchered on Florida. I hate the way she sounds when she sings Bottle of Wine. It's awful. Moving on, there are a few songs on the Tortured Poets department that I would declare are among some of Taylor Swift's career lowlights. Like, rock bottom Taylor Swift. Let's start off with Florida, which is basically about attempting to escape to an ideal reality to the best of your ability after getting broken up with, through metaphorically using Florida as that reality. I don't know, I guess I see the concept they were going for, but it's painfully cringy. The frantic chorus with the pounding drums just don't do anything for me. It actually sounds like what I would describe as ugly. I just don't like how Taylor sounds in the pre-chorus either. The Florence and the Machine feature should have been kept, but even that wouldn't have saved this one. Ugly, cringy, pointless creation of a song, really bad. Another tragedy on the record is I Can Fix Him, No Really I Can, when Taylor blatantly disrespects all monotheistic religions by saying, "Your good Lord doesn't need to lift a finger, I can fix him, no really I can, and only I can." Taylor, respectfully, who do you think you are saying this? You've said yourself that you're a Christian, so why are you being blasphemous? And then the song ends with her saying that she actually can't fix him, and diehard Swifties probably think it's a genius twist, but I think it's just stupid and deducts the whole point she was making the entire song. Nauseatingly bad track. Another song that's so bad to the point where it could temporarily ruin my mood for a bit is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Taylor, I don't know if anyone is. And what is little old me? That term is just... Please keep in mind, this is the same woman who wrote Cardigan just a few years ago, and All Too Well when she was 21. But yeah, the way that she shouts out the name of the song and then follows it with, "Well, you should be," she doesn't sound like something worth being afraid of at all, but more just annoyed by. Her wannabe intimidating tone on this one falls right on its face. It's completely garbage and super cringe. Down Bad is another miss for me, but if it weren't for the sort of R&B instrumental, which I actually sort of enjoy, I would be dissing this one just as hard as the past few. Still really can't vibe with it though, because the lyrics are just dull and, I'm sorry, dumb. I mean, that chorus is very obviously substandard for a Taylor Swift song. Down Bad is also too long for its own good. This would all be so different if Taylor hadn't been an elite songwriter when it comes to love and romance over the past decade plus, but she has. She's shown us what she can do, how she can write, and there's barely any lines on this album that live up to the standard that she set for herself, except for on those two that I said I enjoyed. That does it for the songs I think are hot trash. Now, the rest of the album just falls somewhere in the middle. Mediocre, uninspired, and even at times, boring pop music. There's some that I would say are decent. Fortnite is one of them. It's catchy. But listening to someone sing about their 2-week-long fling that they thought was gonna last forever is it just feels a little bit immature, especially when it was written by a 34-year-old. The title track is also decent. I like the melodies and her singing, but she cusses in it like a middle schooler who just started cussing and thinks it makes her cool. Fresh Out the Slammer is another just average yet somewhat enjoyable track, and Guilty as Sin is in that same boat, but I don't know why I would ever listen to it when she has made so much better in the past. And that sums up my feelings on the album as a whole, really. This is easily the least emotionally effective album of hers. Even her debut makes me feel more emotions during its runtime. It certainly has better lyrics on a consistent basis. All of her albums do, compared to this. I don't know. She finally missed. It's fine. She's still one of my favorites. She's still at the top of the music industry. A miss was bound to happen eventually, and it's not a bad record, it's just a very average one. We know what she's capable of. She just kind of fell off the admirable artistic train she's been on for a while. But it's temporary. I do believe she'll bounce back, but I also hope that she'll take a couple years off before beginning on a new project. Not only is it needed for her to find her groove again, but also just to get a break. She deserves it. She works so hard. And I think I'll leave it at that, everybody. I'm giving the Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift a 5 out of 10. What are your thoughts on this album though? Let me know what you agree or disagree with. Favorite song, least favorite song, anything and everything. I do want to hear you. Again, let me know any requests you may have for a future review. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the video with a like. And that's all for now. Once again, I'm Nick Fry, signing off.